Hey everybody, it's Doug here. Welcome to Slaughterville, and welcome back to our playthrough of Halloween, October horror style games that we've been doing lately. And I'm sorry, I'm a little congested today, not feeling at my best, but I did want to start getting this out to you since we're closing in on Halloween. And through these October playthroughs, I've done so far Marvel Zombies and Final Girl and a few other things, and I hope you're enjoying them because we're about to do one of the bigger ones, this hidden gem of a game. I say that every year. It is definitely a wonderful game for the Halloween season, and I hope you enjoy this playthrough. Now, last time I went up against the slasher, but this time we're going to do something completely different. And I'm not going to go over the rules with you, even though this is, by the way, the director's cut of the game. You see I have this really nice neoprene mat, and there's more locations and more stuff and standees for each of the characters. It's a lot different than the original one, which just had little meeple tokens and stuff like that. You can see we have standees that represent us now, and they're going to be in the starting area of when they're coming into town. They're coming to Slaughterville unsuspecting of the terror that's awaiting them here. And there's all kinds of crazy things that's going to happen. Now, first off, I'm going to tell you, I say this is a hidden gem of a game, and I believe that it is. Laughing Rogue has done a great job with this game over the years. It keeps growing. It's definitely a labor of love by the creator, Christopher Brown, and it shows through. But this isn't one of those games where, you know, when I go to play a Euro-type strategy game, I want to win. You know, I'm playing against other people, I want to win. Or when I play a real heavy Euro, I want to win. While this is a real heavy co-op game, I want to win as well. But this is like, winning is not the objective here. Though you do want to try to win, it's more fun just to see how the story unfolds. Crazy, chaotic things are going to happen. Characters are going to die. It's just insane. And that's what it's meant for. It's meant to just have a good horror romp, take on some crazy horror baddies and see if you can survive or how long you can survive and tell a great fictional story in it. Unlike Final Girl. Final Girl, you know, you can win that. You can play to win that. It's got really tight rules and everything. And this is different. This is kind of like, I would liken this more to a Touch of Evil or something like that, where it's the playing that's the fun, not necessarily the winning or losing. I don't really care about winning any game all the time, even when I'm playing competitively against other people. I just want to enjoy the game. And this is definitely one of those. So, let's first talk about our villain. We're going to be playing the Body Snatchers, as you can see here. And I haven't played against the Body Snatchers yet. I was surprised. I was like, which one haven't I played against yet? I was going to pick a classic like Dr. Frankenstein or Dracula, but I decided on the Body Snatchers. It says, creatures from out there are quietly taking over. Anyone can be one of them. Now, you think this might be like a hidden traitor mechanic or anything, but it's not. It's not. But for the setup, we have to place a random character not in play next to the villain as a pod character with tokens on it based on the number of players. So we're going to be putting 5 tokens on it because we have 4 characters in the game. So let me do that. And here we have the stay-at-home dad. He is going to be, I'm going to put it right here, representing the first of the pod people. That's right. There are going to be pod people here. It's crazy. Now we have to put 5 tokens. I don't think it matters what tokens they are. We're just going to use these skulls, I think. That'll work out. The skulls are easy enough to figure out what they are for us. So 1, 2, 3, 4. We need one more. 5. And that is a special setup right there. Now let's read what the Body Snatchers do. It says 1. Each, and this symbol represents allies in the game. And by the way, if you want to see that, it's on the back of the rule book, or not maybe on the back of the rule book, but it's within the rule book. It shows you what each of the symbols are, and those are called allies, right? So it says each ally has blank text and is infected. So meaning this guy here, it has blank text and is infected, giving him a combat strength of 4. Players need to combat allies revealed during the encounters. If they succeed, it's cured, and we can attach the character to us. This is any character we pull out in the game, right? We have to fight it and basically see if it's been cured, if it's a pod person or not. So we're going to take it on and deal with that. If we fail, we're going to shuffle the ally back into the deck and remove 1 token from the current pod person. A character that dies becomes a pod character with tokens equal to their current mind ability, which is this stat right here. And that includes our characters, our player characters, because this game, it's funny, you could literally go through 12 characters out in the game, especially playing against these guys. It says, when a pod character's final token is removed, place it next to the villain as a turned pod character. Body Snatchers stats are equal to the highest of the stat amongst all the turned pod people, so they share a stat. +1 for each other turned pod character, minimum of 2. So how do we win this? Well, the players win when the Body Snatchers are defeated. The Body Snatchers win when there are, and this is easy, we're going to play normal, 5 turned pod characters. On the villain's turn, we're going to remove 1 token from a pod character with the fewest tokens. If there are no pod characters, perform the pod character setup. So we're always going to have a pod character in the game. It says, at the start of the infected player's turn, they must engage in single combat round against a random player. So you can see we can become infected. I don't know if this is the best one for a solo play, but we're going to give it a shot. I mean, what the heck, right? And this, of course, they're cards right here. And we'll see how this rolls out. Now, I could have picked one that doesn't have something to do with other players fighting other players, but it's okay. We can make this happen. And I really want to play against the Body Snatchers because I remember the movie of old with, I think Elliot Gould, I believe, was one of the stars in it. If I'm not mistaken, it's an old movie. But when I was young, that movie actually scared me a bit. It was good. And so now we're going to play against them here, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to introduce you to our starting lineup of characters, and then we'll see where we go. I'm probably going to say these stats wrong a lot, but this is their combat ability. This is Nerve. I believe that one is Perception. That is movement, agility, and then their health, of course. So we're playing, one of the characters we're playing is the Hottie. I don't know what we're going to call her. You guys can tell me a name by the time we get to the next episode. Now, we have these things called clues, which we're going to gather during the game. And as you can see here, it says that for a clue, she can say, hey, come here. During combat, move any character to your location to enter combat for you so she can get help, basically. And then 2, saunter. Roll a d3, move to that many locations, and shuffle a enemy on the top of each deck into the location. Hey, I have something for you, is what she says. So we'll see how that plays out. That is going to be the Hottie, and she's going to be our first player. And then we're going to have the Physician, Doc Brown. I got to do it. I hope I'm not going to get YouTube strike for that, but there's probably plenty of Dr. Browns out in the world. This means an item that removes health, remove an extra health. So it means an item that heals gets a bonus of 1 extra healing is what that means. And then he's got PPE, personal private, I don't know what that means. Anyway, reduce all health suffered by 1 until the end of this check. And then 3, he can spend a clue to the Physician is in, remove 1d3 damage from all characters. I did pick him because maybe we can keep some of the characters alive. Then we have the Professor. Now there are 40 plus characters in the game, in my Slaughterville game, by the way, because I have the Director's Cut and the 2nd edition mixed in, so there's lots of characters to play. You can see his stats here. He's pretty good at perception, but he's not that good at much else. He's okay. An item that increases perception does not count as equipped. Or items, rather. So that makes sense. Items that increase perception don't count as equipped. That means he can have as many as he wants. And then for a clue, he can switch classes, move to and encounter a location. He can do that outside of the normal movement turn, right? And then he can also spend 2 clues to say vast knowledge, use perception for a combat check. Well, his perception is 4, so that's pretty darn good. Not everything can be solved with violence, but in this instance, I guess it can. And then the protector of the town, who's already here, probably living in the town, is our cop. Again, please name these folks for me. The only one I named was Doc Brown. Anyway, you can see her stats there. She's pretty even across the board. She's got some good combat with 3. That's pretty good. She's the highest of the combat characters we have. She's got think fast, discard any number of items in your inventory and add the total of their bonuses to your current combat. That can be really powerful for us, especially when we're fighting the Body Snatchers. 2, for clue, we can do 2 clues. We can do off duty, move to any location, or remove 4 health. So she can heal up. That's pretty good. Now you can always heal at the starting of the town, at the entrance of the town. You can take an action there, your action there. You get 2 in a turn to heal a D3, and you get to remove those. So you can still heal, but this is anywhere. Like she can be in any location. And then for 3, she can go to the evidence locker and gain an item from any location. It says peace will be restored no matter what. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Now, welcome to the town of Slaughterville itself. It is comprised of a couple of locations, 6 to be exact. There's always 6 in the game. We are going to be visiting the cemetery, the residential neighborhood, the mall. Of course, there has to be a shopping mall in a town where the Body Snatchers are come and take over, right? The school. So there's a high school there next to the mall. Great place for it. There's also for higher education. There's a museum and a general store. So those are the 6 locations that we're going to be visiting. Now, in Slaughterville, each of those locations, when we go to encounter a place, we get to draw from the deck of that location, and I just keep shuffling because I don't know how well shuffled they are. And a lot of these have each of the locations also has its own special abilities. So, like the schools, is you may use perception instead of combat for checks at the school. So if you get in a fight at school, the professor likes it there. He gets in a fight in school, he can use his perception. He already can, though. It's one of his abilities, but he doesn't have to spend items on it. Or stuff on it, or switch classes, clues, he has to spend that. No. Vast knowledge. 2 clues to do that, where you can do that normally at the school. It's pretty good. In the museum, you can detach any item to shuffle the top 3 cards of the discard pile of all locations back into the appropriate decks. That means we can get stuff we want back in the decks. Now, we may not want to do that, because who knows what we might be pulling on these decks. It can be crazy. At the general store, it says if you start your turn at the general store, you may detach 2 items to attach an item from any discard pile on the board. That means you can find the item in the general store. It's pretty thematic, right? At the mall, it says a player may detach a clue to double the stat modifier from an ally or item for that moment in time. So that's pretty good. While you're at the mall, you can do that. In the residential neighborhood, it says when health is dealt to the villain, remove a token from this location. For each health dealt, choose a character to detach a clue or suffer 1 health for each token detached. So we'll see how that goes. That's going to be interesting. I don't know. We'll deal with that when we get to it. And in the cemetery, once per turn, you may remove an attached ally from the game and take an item from any discard pile. So we can kill off one of our own people and bury them. Might be a good thing to do in this scenario because we don't want people to become Body Snatchers, right? But we do have to beat them down to get the ally into our tableau, so to speak, so we can have the resources and the skills and uses of the ally. But we have to cure them first. I mean, we just got to beat them down and do whatever we got to do to get there. Maybe I guess we're killing the pod person version and rescuing the actual person, right? So basically that is it. Now I'm just going to show you the turn order real quick before we start playing, and I'll play a turn for us now, and then we'll probably call this video a day because it's going to be kind of long. So our turn order is, we're going to take our player's turn. It says beginning of the turn. Use beginning of the turn abilities and or adjust the character's inventory. So at the beginning of the turn we can always move our inventory around and what we have equipped versus what we have on us, right? We can, the player may perform up to 2 actions then, move, trade, encounter a player or encounter a location. We can trade any number of items, clues, or allies to other players. And then we'll continue with that. Then we're going to do the villain's turn. We're going to perform a villain turn ability if it's on their card. In this case, there's quite a bit to do. We're going to draw the encounter from the villain, the encounter card. And then players in the same location as the villain engage in a single combat round. That means we have to survive 1 round of combat with them to stave them off. And then the villain turn's complete. We keep going. We go to the final combat turn order. This is the final combat for the end of the game. And then there's some extra things we can do with clues. So let's figure out what we're going to do. Start taking our turns, right? See what's going to happen in Slaughterville. So, the players don't know it yet, but the Body Snatchers are coming after them. Yeah, we're going to have to deal with that. It's going to be fun. So first up, in the town square of Slaughterville, we have the hottie. I don't know her name until the next episode, so that's why we're going to have to end this pretty soon, because you guys got to tell me the names of these folks. So she is going to, I think, what would she do? I think she'd go to the mall. I mean, that sounds reasonable, right? The hottie, she's going to take off to the mall, see if she can get some new stuff. I don't know. They all might go to the mall. Who can say? But it seems like we're going to do that for her first turn. So for her first turn, her first action is going to be to move. So she has moved to the mall. Now I'm going to take this deck a bit and I'm going to spread it around because I don't know how well I shuffled it. And then we're going to draw a card and we're going to show you what it is. And something's going to happen to her because her next action is going to be to have an encounter. This is how we get clues and things which will help us advance the game. So I'll do one more cut just to make it interesting. And then that'll be it. We'll have to leave this draw deck alone after that. So what do we get? Free samples. Let me see if you can see that clearly. A man offers you samples of food. His smile makes you nervous, but you aren't sure why. Make two perception checks. If we succeed, you resist the urge to take one. Attach free sample to gain +1. Interesting. Okay. If we fail, we're going to have a problem already. So let's see what happens with this. So the hottie has a nerve, or whatever that is. Not nerve, is it nerve? Whatever, brain power. I told you I was going to get it wrong a whole bunch of times right before I get it right. Nerve of 3. She has to make 2 checks, right? Make a 2 check. So she has to succeed twice at it. And then if I can attach that and she'll get +1 nerve. So normally, I think I'm going to take these ones that are already on big numbers. We'll do that. Normally, you would just make 1 roll to make a success, but this one requires 2. So we're going to have to roll it twice. A success, remember she got 3 dice because that's her nerve. A success is a 5 or 6. So, she got 2 successes right there, but we have to go again because it says to make 2 checks, not 2 successes. So we succeeded in the first one, and luckily we succeeded in the second one as well. That is fantastic. So we're going to attach this card to her, and now she basically succeeded. It says, if you succeed, you resist the urge to take one. Attach free sample to gain +1 nerve. So now we have 4 nerve. That was her turn, so that's not too bad. That was a pretty good start for her. Next up, we have the physician. Now he's come into town. He knows that there's something going on. He's looking for clues because he's heard that there are strange occurrences going on. What a better place to look for him than this cemetery, right? So we got to go through all these locations, but he's going to start there. So let's take a look and see what happens when we go to the cemetery. Now, I am going to just shuffle up again a little bit because I don't know how well things are shuffled, and we'll see what comes up. Now again, this is a totally random game, but it's so much fun. So thank you, Christopher Brown, for making such a great classic game. It'll be in my collection forever. Okay, let's see what we get here. We're going to do one more cut, boom, and see what happens at the cemetery. Gather the faithful. Human enemy. A group of cultists surround you. They want you to know you won't win. Each character at the cemetery must engage in a single round of combat against the faithful with a strength of 6. We're going to fail. Huh? If you succeed, you fight them off. One of them has important information about the villain. Gain 1d3 clues. So there's a cult following for the Snatchers that are creating pod people. They probably think they're gods or something like that. And if we fail, you've been beaten for days until eventually you break and realize the villain was right. Choose a new character, but keep all your clues. Oh my God, I might lose the doctor in the very first round. See, and here we go. So now I told you they have a strength of 6, so this is going to be challenging. Now this is really going to suck. So I'm going to roll the bad guys first just to see how bad this really is. He's got a health of 8, so they can't actually kill him, but they can get really close. Wow, they got 3 hits on him. Wow, 3 hits already. Okay, so basically I'm going to get to roll 1 die for him. He rolled a 6, so he did offset that, and they ended up doing 2 hits to him. So we're going to take 2 hits on the... but he lost the combat, so it's not going to matter, right? It says, if we succeed, you fight them off. We didn't succeed. We failed. You're beaten for the day. You're beaten for days until you eventually break and realize the villain was right. Choose a new character. Bah! All right, well, I'm going to go do that. The physician is not dead, so he doesn't end up becoming a pod person, but we do have to find somebody else to play. Okay, so here is her standee. I'm just going to take the one from the doctor. We'll take that off, and we'll put her standee on the base, And that will be her right there. Now, I picked the spiritualist. Why? Because she was one of the cultists, and she watched this poor guy get beat down over and over again by her fellow cultists who believed in the pod people. And what happened after that was she decided to turn away from their faith and became the spiritualist. She's, not a strong character, but she's got good stats otherwise. It says, you're +1. You are +1 to checks at the church. We don't have the church here, but that's okay. And she also has a clue thing. It says, faith, send the villain to the villain's start area or discard an undead ghost or demon, but don't gain a clue. Okay, so 2, she can spend 2 to pray, make a nerve check. Each character at your location removes a wound. So she can also do a little bit of healing, which is helpful, but that is going to be basically the end of her turn. She's going to appear now, but I'm going to assume that the doctor's turn was her turn. Next up, we're going to take the professor. It's his turn. Here is his standee, and I think you know where I'm going to send him. I'm going to send him to either the museum or the school. I think he'll start at the school. He wants to see how good the academia is in Slaughterville and see if there are kids there that are worthy of his knowledge, right? He's a super knowledgeable guy, so we're going to see what happens to him at the school. What a big turn, right off the bat, right? We lose the hottie, or we lose the doctor. And we now have the spiritualist with us, the ex-cultist who watched the doctor get beat so badly he gave up and left the town. It's kind of sad. All right, well, let's cut this and see what we get. Boom. Smoking in the boys' room. It's a ghost. Oh, we have a ghost. We got to send a spiritualist there. Smoke billows from the bathroom. Is there a fire in there? You rush in to douse the flames somehow, but instead find 3 figures standing amidst the smoke. They turn towards you with cherry flames where their eyes should be, and they are made of pure smoke. They do not appreciate the interruption and attack. Smoke ghosts are strength 4. That's wonderful. These are enemies, not allies. So I'm going to check out the. Don't think that anything happens with the Body Snatchers from that, but we do have to fight them. However, we don't have any clues or anything, so I can't do the vast knowledge. But you can do that at the school. So we're going to be 4 versus 4. 4 for the villains, 4 for us. So let's get out the tray here and see if we can survive a battle with ghosts. We have the professor and the smoking ghosts in the room. They were smoking cigarettes in the boys' room. That's what they remembered from like the 50s or something. We'll see. Here's their roll. They got 1 hit, so we might succeed in this combat. Let's see. Now we're going to also roll 4. Oh, look at that. 2 hits. We did succeed. So we do 1 hit to the ghosts, and I think that is going to mark the end. We succeeded against the combat roll for them. And what happens when you defeat an enemy? So in defeating the ghosts, the professor is going to gain a clue. And we're going to put the ghosts in the discard pile there at the school. And now the professor has a clue, which he can use later to fuel some of his abilities. And that is going to be the end of his turn. Remember, we got 2 actions. One of those actions can be to move. We can trade. We can do all kinds of stuff. And then the other one is to encounter. So we're trying to encounter some of these locations and see what we get. Last but not least, we have the cop. And she's off duty right now. Now, I don't know what her name is. You're going to tell me, right? You're going to tell me the names of all of these except for Doc Brown, who's gone. So now you can tell me all their names. We are going to have the cop go to the general store. She's out looking for some donuts for her fellow cops. Now, I know that's an old joke, but I'm going to stick with it. And it's nothing against police officers. I have great respect for the police. But anyway, she's going to the general store to get some stuff for her fellow police officers. And it says, if you start your turn at the general store, which she's not this turn, you may detach 2 items. But we're not going to do that. We're just going to draw a card from the general store to see what we get. Okay. Now, as you can see, this can be pretty crazy, but we're going to cut it one more time, and then we're going to draw. Let's see what we get here. The consumer. Okay, the consumer is an undead. Look at that thing. I can't tell if you can see the picture. This is photography, by the way. They've done some really interesting mix of photography and graphic elements in the game. It reminds me a lot of A Touch of Evil from the old days. This is another enemy. She asks for help. Roll a d6. Oh, no, we have to roll a d6. Let's do that. Okay, let's see. We got a 3. So 1 to 3. A man grabs you, saying it's a trick. He pulls out a shotgun and blasts her in the face. She threatens to devour his soul and attacks. The consumer is strength 4. Okay, so she would have done bad stuff to us, but we're going to have to fight her off. We got a 3. She's got a 4. She does not have any health, so she's got 1 health, basically, is what that means. It means we can defeat her with a simple roll of beating her by 1 health. Okay, let's see what we can do here. The ghost, the undead creature, the devourer, has 4. And got no hits. Oh, we just need 1 hit. And we got 3 dice. She has 3 dice to attack with. Look at that. Boom! She got 2 hits. We killed the consumer. Does it say what happens? Okay, on the consumer, when the completed discard is... Okay. If I rolled this, her spirit can't resist until her murder is solved. Place the consumer next to your character. To solve the crime, you have to place an item, ally, and a clue from your inventory on the consumer. When completed, discard this and gain a D6 clue. So that would have been pretty good. We didn't get that, but we did beat the consumer, giving us 1 clue. So now the police officer now has a clue as well. Okay, well that was turn 1 down. I think that turn 1 down rather. I think you get to the idea of the game. But we're not done yet for this episode. We still have to do the villain's step, right? So the first thing we're going to do is perform in the villain turn any ability of the starting area. I don't think they have any abilities in the starting area. Villain turn. Remove 1 token from the pod character with the fewest tokens. Okay. Is that going to be... Let's just want to make sure. Yeah, I think that's going to happen first, the ability. So removing one token from the stay-at-home dad up there. He's becoming closer and closer. He's converting and turning into a pod person. That one we can't stop. But if they come out here, we can stop it. But we haven't found any allies yet, so we haven't had to worry about it. Okay. 2, if there are no more pod characters, we're going to get another one out. Okay. So now we're going to go to drawing their cards. Now, I have shuffled this, but we're going to do the encounter for the Body Snatchers and see what they do. I'm going to keep shuffling it up a little bit more. Make sure it's nice and shuffled. We'll do 1 more cut. We're going to see what we get. Let's see. Hive Mind. This can't be good. It's a villain. The Hive is aware of your intentions to find them. They warn the others to go into hiding. Find the hatchery. Each character must make a perception check against the Body Snatchers' nerve, which currently is only the 1 character, so it's a 3. Succeed, gain an ally from your current location deck or discard pile. Fail, remove 1 token from the pod character. Okay, so who's going to do this? So I believe we're going to have the professor do this. Each character must do this. So we can succeed or fail on each character. Okay, so we'll start with the hottie. She was the first. And we could have a real problem, like almost immediately here. But because of her special bonus, she does have 2 nerve to roll with. Oh, but we're doing perception, right? So her perception is only a 1. That's not good. She made it with a 6. Okay, so she gets to do what now? Let me just read this again. If you succeed, gain an ally from your current location. She was at the mall, so we're going to get the mall deck out and look for an ally. And remember, these allies can turn on us, but it's okay. That's not an ally. Not an ally. We're going to have to shuffle these decks up, aren't we, as soon as we get done? That's an item. That is not an ally. Nope. 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 Come on, where's all the allies? The mall rats. There's an ally. Okay, so she gained the mall rats. Servants of the villain set up a ritual worship. Okay, we don't need to do that. That's okay. We just now have the mall rats. It's +1 mind and +1 nerve and +1 to combat for her. So she's got a lot of nerve now. That's pretty good. I'm going to have to shuffle this back up because the mall is now depleted of one of the allies. Now, I have to remember this. It says, I don't think this applies, but it says, because the way the card reads, this is for the villain, so I don't think this applies, that each ally has blank text and is infected. We have to do a combat of 4. Players must combat the ally revealed during the encounter. But this is not the encounter. Wait, players must, during that encounter, this is not, I don't think this counts because it specifically says if you succeed, you gain an ally from the current location's deck or discard pile. I don't think this applies here. I don't know. I'm a little confused on that. Let's just read it again. Players must combat revealed during encounter. Succeed, it's attached. Fail, shuffle it back into the deck. Remove 1 token from the pod character. See, that doesn't make any sense because she succeeded, right? That was the win. We overcame. We figured out where the hive was going. We rescued somebody from the hive. I'm going to say that does not apply here, because remember, we can fail, and then we're going to lose tokens off that guy anyway, right? So I think I'm going to say that it's not true. Now she's at the starting location, so she doesn't do this, I don't think. Does she still have to make this? It says succeed, gain an love from your location, deck, or discard pile. We're at the starting area, so I don't think she applies. It applies to her. So we're going to skip on to the professor. Hey, Christopher, if you're watching, let me know if I'm screwing this all up. Okay, so he is going to have to roll for this, but he does have a perception of 4, so hopefully he will succeed. He did not. Wait, I missed a die. Hold on. One more die. Okay, 5. He did succeed. Woo! That was close. Okay, the professor's at the school, so let's I'm going to find the first ally I can come across here. There's one. On the playground. It says it's an ally. William and Mab, siblings, have grown up. What does this do? I don't think that's... it says... the playground in the school... I'm trying to see what this does. I don't think this one would apply for us. Oh, it says you drive the creatures off and attach the playground. You may detach on the playground to escape from combat. If you also have field trip, okay. So basically, since he succeeded at that, he's got the playground kids with him, and he can throw them into the way of the villains and escape. Basically, that's pretty interesting. All right, and then we have, last but not least, our cop. Okay, so here we go. We're going to take out the general store and look for an ally. Oh, first one. Housewares clerk. Okay, let's see if we can do this and see if we can succeed. She has a nerve of 2. That's all she's got. She failed. Okay, so she's the first one to fail. What does that do? It says, so for this card, we're then going to, says, fail, remove 1 token from the pod character. Okay, well, we have done that. There now only has 3 tokens on it. And this guy goes back into the deck. And we're going to shuffle. Nope, wrong deck. General store. And we're going to shuffle that deck up, and that's going to be the end of that. All right, well, that was the end of the villain's turn. I think, let me just check out the end of the villain's turn, just to be sure. The villain's turn is complete. The first player token then passes, so now the spiritualist will be our first player. Next turn, and we're going to end it right there. So our first turn against the Body Snatchers. They know we're here now, right? They know we're here. They already drove off with the use of their non-body snatch cultists. Already drove off one of our characters, the physician, out of town, who suffered such a great beating he couldn't take it anymore, and agrees that the villain's going to win, right? The Body Snatchers are going to take over the world. I'm going to go hide with a bottle. But one of the cult members defected and came over to the side of the heroes and is now trying to help the hero characters overcome the Body Snatchers. Through that, the hive mind tried to collect some various people from the town. They did succeed in some areas, but they didn't succeed at the mall and at the school, where our characters were able to rescue a couple of people from tragedy. And that's where we're going to leave it off. So next up, when we go, our new character, the spiritualist, will be going first. We'll see what she does. And please, I really want names, so I need names for the hottie, the spiritualist, the professor, and the cop. And those are the names we'll use for the rest of the game. So I hope you enjoyed this. This is going to be a fun little session. I know we just got started. It's going to get crazier, I tell you. But this is off to a fun start. We already lost a character. First turn. Who knew, right? But that's the way this game bounces. And so, again, I want to say I love this game because it tells a story. You notice I'm weaving a story into this as we go. And I want you to help me weave it too. If you have some ideas about how this story should go, and you think up something about what just happened with a character that might be better than my ideas, by all means, post them, and we'll kind of write this story together. That'll be a lot of fun. But we're still going to see if we can win against the Body Snatchers, or will they take over Slaughterville. We'll find out in the next set of episodes. So take care, and I'll see you in the next one. Please make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Let people know about the channel. I don't collect money or anything for this channel outside of what little advertising money comes off of YouTube, which is not very much. I'm working to buy a 4K camera so I can record these in even higher fidelity, which would be super cool. I want to do that, but I'm gonna have to pay for that. And I don't even accept or solicit things from publishers anymore. If they send me something, great. If they don't, great. So almost everything you see, including this, was backed or bought. And I used to get a lot of games from publishers. I got too many, so I just kind of stopped doing it. And also, I don't want to be beholden to share something that doesn't interest me. So when publishers do send me something, on the rare occasion they do, I do let them know, hey, if I don't like it or it's not my style, it's not going on the channel. So be careful what you send, because I'm pretty clear if you watch my channel what kind of games I like. So anyway, just being a subscriber and being around and commenting is really the reward that I'm looking for from the community. And then just enjoying what we're doing with this. It's a lot of fun. So I hope you do that. Thanks. I'll talk to you in the next episode. Take care. Have a good night.